See, back then, I hadn't found my own artistry yet, so I was getting off on helping other people with their recordings and things like that. And it's a weird thing with this music stuff how it all goes, because like I've done a lot for a lot of people, and I don't really get a lot of credit for that, which is okay. But I know that like how much I've done for other people, so like sometimes it kind of feels like like when are people gonna start learning how to give back and things like that. And I don't know if people ever really will, but it's one of those things. I know I helped out at Havertown, people a lot. You know what I mean? Um, so what was I gonna say about that? Yeah, I think like with this music stuff, it's like some people find themselves through music early on. Some people it takes a little bit longer. Some people I know that have been playing since we were 16 still haven't necessarily found their original uh, thing that makes allows them just to turn it on right there and then. I just found it kind of recently. Like how do I say this? I started to find it when I was working with Splat. So I worked with Splat from '04 to, let's say, I mean, I still work with him today, but he had a good run from '04 to, let's say, '08. Um, and during that time period, I started to see how we were pulling off what we were trying to pull off, which was, record a lot of music, write a lot of songs, pretty much. Nothing fancy, just, write a lot of songs. And the way that, we wrote a lot of songs was by recording it so that it was, there, so we could reference, you know what I mean? Because without that, we probably wouldn't have any songs whatsoever. So that's one of the tricks to songwriting out there. If you're out there and you're listening and you want to know how to create songs, is just record everything. Because then that way, if you come up with something cool, it's there. That formula I still utilize to today in 2020. Um, yeah, so around that time, I started to find what it was I was looking for as an artist. And then shit got real crazy for me around that time period, but I knew what it was that I was finding. Like, one, I could bring my recorder, my 18 track. I have a Roland VS 1824. I could bring that anywhere and plug it into a wall and just say, okay, well, here we can get a different room sound in here, which I thought was fucking fascinating because it records at a pretty high level, but at the same time, you can record anywhere, any town, any country, any city, anywhere, you know. So that was like whoa. Like once I figured that out, that was like whoa. And then I still wasn't there yet as a vocalist, and that was where the blood, sweat, and the tears came in. You know what I mean? Like I had to pay my dues, so I struggled with that for a long time, and then I was taking vocal lessons from this guy named Reggie Tyndall down at University of Arts, and he said something to me. This was like '09, 2010. He said something to me that I revisited later, which was, "We'll just talk." I said, "What?" He said, "You're trying too hard to sing well when you're not a trained singer." I said, "Oh shit." So that actually discouraged me for a while. But then in about 2000 and see, this is how long it took. 2014, I started doing a lot more songwriting on my own because there wasn't a lot of people around. Like a lot of people I knew that used to play music all the time were now working and getting wifed up and shit like that. Having kids. So I was like, fuck it. I wanted just to keep going. So I was like, fuck it. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it now. So I started to record my voice a lot. Which I still didn't really like. And then around that time also I started eating healthy And after an ayahuasca ceremony, I learned from eating vegan how I could get rid of my sinus problems. I had sinus problems since I was born. You know what I mean? I always had a stuffy nose ever since, for about 30 years, I had a stuffy nose. So, that affected my vocals, you know what I mean? And then I found out also that smoking weed affected my vocals. And I was smoking massive amounts of weed for a very long time. So the ingredients were changing, and by 2017, I would say that I found a new style of singing when I stopped trying to sing like my favorite singers. So this goes back to what Reggie Tyndall told me, and Reggie Tyndall, I ended up in Woodstock, New York, which I dreamed of because my favorite musicians are from up there. So I started to instead of trying to sound like them, I started to embrace a more talking style singing, talking style vocals, and it worked because I started to hear myself in the song, opposed to, oh well, what do I compare this to, or man, I wish I could sing more like this guy or whatever. And I said, no, wait a minute, that's me, that's actually me inside the song. And there's been songs that I had sung years ago, but a lot of that had to do with like, okay, you get like a lucky take, or like you do it 30 times and you take that one take, which is normal for a lot of vocalists. However, I never felt comfortable with doing it in front of other people. That's what it is. It took me a long time to be comfortable singing or being a vocalist in front of other people. And by about 2017, it was one of those like either jump in the pool or don't. But this is it. And I started doing it. I started writing again, and the lyrics were coming to me like crazy. That was never a problem. Writing and expressing my creativity was never a problem. That was actually one of my strong points with all this stuff. So I started to discover with my voice, like, oh shit, that's me. That's not anybody else. That's me. So when I think back on the 2017 to 2019 run that I had in Woodstock, it was full of self-discovery and hidden gifts or whatever that I had in me that I've been searching for. But it's funny how the ingredients have to line themselves up. I've always felt that way about ingredients with music and shit like that. Like that's even why I've stayed loyal to certain things the way that I have, is because I know that when that opportunity comes around to mix this with this and this with that, I could step up to the plate and hit a grand slam. And I think that the cats that saw what I was trying to do, saw it kind of come to fruition at the Colony open mic in Woodstock. I think that was when people were probably like, "Whoa, who's this guy? This guy's coming hard with it." And a lot of that was improv too. Like I'd write a song on the spot. I'd bring my piece of paper up on stage, and I would perform it without ever performing it before. That's what kind of energy I had built up inside of myself that I was still working hard to get out of myself through music and through other creative endeavors. But yeah, it's like you get to a point with this stuff where you record enough, or you write enough, or you play enough music where you can be then comfortable with improvising in ways that other people might not know how to do. For an example, my friend Bry Payday, me and him get together, we just do shit in one take, improv, bam, that was it, boom, move on. And when you can do that, it's so fulfilling, because all of the frustration that comes with recording or performing is not there. You know, you just bang it out, and that's that. And some people are really talented. Like Bry Payday is somebody who can do that with melody, words, and recording. That motherfucker's not even trained. You know, I mean, like with me, like I've worked my ass off to get to where I'm at. You know, with it, but he's not even fucking trained, man. He's never probably trained a day in his life. You know, with music. So everybody's different, man. Everybody's got different gifts and different abilities and talents. You know, one of the things that I'm good at is being able to sit with somebody and just say, "Hey, let's do this, man. Let's create something." You know what I mean? Synergy or whatever. So yeah.